Good morning, everybody. Tell you what, it's freezing this morning. We're just going to poke our nose down this little track first before we begin. This is where the abseilers take off from, or one of the spots. So let's have a little look down here first. We're starting to get the Australian wildflowers coming out, and we'll spot a few of them as we walk. This is a glimpse of where we're going to be looking this morning. And if I be quiet for a moment, there's some really cool bird calls happening in the background. So this is Narrow Neck that we're looking at right here. And the signal I can see is bouncing around a little, probably a combination of the wind and our location. I'm not going to go too far down this track, just far enough to give us a bit of a view overlooking Narrow Neck. And we'll be practically standing on top of Boar's Head, one of the rock formations that we see from the lookout as we get a little bit further around. All right, so this is, look where we are here. We won't get too close to the edge, but it's pretty stunning looking out from here. And that's the Boar's Head we're looking down on top of. Let me get to just a little bit further around. I'll show you, we are quite safe. You can probably hear the wind, I'm guessing. I've got some protection over the microphone to stop that crackling noise, but you can probably hear the wind. Okay, so that's Narrow Neck over there. I'll just go down to the first step and see if we can get a bit better view of that. So where we're headed is over there. That's where the lookout is that we're headed to. We have to go back up to the road and around to get to that. Oh boy, this wind's savage. And that over there, that's Narrow Neck. Over there. We're just going to head back up towards the road now. Look at this interesting plant. That's pretty cool. Looks like something's regrowing from something that's died. Okay, good morning everybody. Hi everyone who's just joined. I think I got everybody. My name's Lynn. For those who haven't met me before. Gosh, what a way to start a day. My name's Lynn and welcome to the Blue Mountains. We are standing at a point just outside of Katoomba, which is probably the main tourist town in the Blue Mountains. We're at an altitude of around about 1,000 meters. It's very cold here this morning, which I've just been telling the other ladies. And very windy. All right, so before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we meet today on the traditional lands of the Darug and Gundungurra people, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And let's get off this trail. It might be a little bit more protected up here, although I doubt it. Okay, so heading back up, we've just had a look at the little lookout where the abseilers, they do abseiling and rock climbing. Okay, and that there is called Radiata Plateau. I'll tell you a little bit more about Radiata Plateau in a moment. So, alrighty, so as I said, we're just outside of Katoomba, which is approximately 85 kilometres to the west of Sydney city centre. And what we're overlooking here is the Megalong Valley. The Blue Mountains has 4 major valleys. Most of the tourists go to the Jamison Valley. When they go to Katoomba and the Three Sisters, what they'd be looking at is the Jamison Valley. Now this narrow ridge here, called Narrow Neck, is what divides the Jamison from the Megalong Valley. And here we can see a lovely wattle coming into flower. Of course, being August, we are in winter. There's another wattle just there. So the lookout that we're going to see today is called Cahill's Lookout. I'll just show you this interesting house on the side here. It would look like more at home, I think, in Los Angeles than it does in the Blue Mountains. Very hacienda style. Very quirky for this area. Looks like it must have a huge fireplace. This is a really interesting plant because it's one of the plants that the seed eaters love to munch on. When it's in flower, it's absolutely covered in, depending on the variety, pink or white blossoms. Absolutely gorgeous. But the parrots, the galahs, all those sorts of birds love it. And the cockatoos love this one. You can see the bigger seeds on that one. Anyone who was with me at Flat Rock or Lincoln's Rock the other day, and we started the tour out by looking for a black cockatoo. Literally the following day, I saw a photo pop up on Facebook in that street with a tree absolutely covered in black cockatoos. Just my luck. Just my luck. All right. So we've reached the car park. Here's my little chariot. And I'll show you where we're going to be going today. So this map actually shows you all the walks and rides in the local area. This dark green line marks the edge of the escarpment. So everything above that is on top of the ridge and everything below that is down in the valley. Echo Point is where the Three Sisters are located, and we're going there on Wednesday, 2 days from today. And we are over here. So when you come on tours with me in the Katoomba area and look at the lookouts, today we're here, tomorrow we'll be around there, and on Wednesday we'll be over here. And I live over here somewhere, about 15 minutes away. So about, let me think, I have to think back how long it was. I think it was about 6 years ago. There was a severe bushfire. Started in the valley down below and actually came up the escarpment, up the cliff face. Completely wiped out, which has had at the time a lot of timber, handrails, infrastructure like that just literally made it dangerous. It was out of action for about a year while they repaved. I'm listening to little birds over there. Repaved the area, put in new guardrails and handrails, and made the place safe again. The name Katoomba, let me just pause here while I tell you about that. So Katoomba is believed to have been named from the the Gundungurra language, which is the people that live on the south side of the main Blue Mountains Ridge. We have the Darug people live on the north side. The Gundungurra people live on the south side, or originate from the south side. It's meant to be the word that they use for shining falling water, or a word that sounds like it. Their language is, the way that they pronounce words is slightly different to the way that we do. And it's more like Katoomba or Katoomba, but we call it Katoomba. So we're just standing here looking over the Megalong Valley, and it really looks like the weather's about to come in from the west at the moment. You can see that big cloud bank coming over the ridge line where, from the direction where Jenolan Caves is roughly. So we could be in for some interesting weather later on today. What often happens, especially early in the morning, we didn't have it today, but what often happens early in the morning is that we'll get a mist hanging in the valley. This is the Boar's Head lookout, so that's where we were standing when I first started the tour, over there on Boar's Head Rock. So the mist will come in, sit in the valley, and then it'll flow over the ridge. And if you're standing on the other side of the river, it actually looks like a waterfall. And the phenomenon is known as the Phantom Falls. I've got a photo of one that I took when I brought my niece here a couple of months ago from this side. So it's not exactly the Phantom Falls, but you get the idea. But it's stunning when the mist is sitting in the valley, and then when you see the Phantom Falls from the other side, it's mind-blowing. So that's the Boar's Head there. Now, I want you to tell me if you think that looks like a boar or something else. I have my own idea about what I think it looks like. A bat? See, I think it looks like a meerkat. We'll get other photos of that as we go along the track. Now, I mentioned doesn't look like a boar. No, I don't think so either. I mentioned Radiata Plateau. Radiata, of course, being Radiata pine. And at one time, this whole plateau was actually planted out with Radiata pine trees, which are actually a weed in this area. They're spread by the cockatoos, because the cockatoos, as we saw, they love the seeds like this sort of thing, but they also love the seeds of the Radiata pine. And of course, when the pine tree grows, nothing else grows underneath it. So when they take over a landscape, it pushes out all the native vegetation, which obviously has an impact on the local wildlife as well. Hi, Chandra. Chandra, I just want to mention, the other day you were on my tour and I missed a question from you. Someone encouraged you to put a link into the chat for your tour because you are new as a guide, and you asked if it's okay to do that without the permission of the guide giving the tour. And I want to thank you for showing me that courtesy. I totally missed that part of the conversation until I went back over the commenter. Please, as a new guide, I'd like you to put your channel link in the chat so that everyone else can see your upcoming tours. Okay, I've just got a low battery warning. Let me just turn my battery pack on 1 second. That should all be good now. So the Radiata Plateau was privately owned, and it was going to be sold It was actually put on the market for sale, for development. Thankfully, this is where we are now, Cahill's Lookout. Thankfully, the state government bought that piece of land and it's now been returned to the people in the form of a national park. So Cahill's Lookout is named for the New South Wales state premier from around about the 1950s. His name, J.J. Cahill. I think it was John James Cahill. That was before I was born. He had visions for Sydney, which included things like the Opera House. So he was the one who originally came up with the idea of putting an opera house on Bennelong Point and got the ball rolling for the competition where architects submitted their ideas and their designs, which ultimately became the Sydney Opera House that opened in, I think it was 1973, and I should know that. Here's another view of the Boar's Head. Does it look like more of a boar from this angle? I'm still going with meerkat. Let me do a pan from here. You can really see the blue of the Blue Mountains from here. There's Narrowneck. That road is currently closed because the weather we've been having has caused a lot of rock slides, landslides, and the road's just not safe at the moment. And then down here we have Megalong Valley. Oh, it's windy. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. It might be easier to pan if we zoom out a little. Down here we have the Megalong Valley, which is, there's a lot of farmland down there. I drove down to the Megalong Valley the other day. It's quite a hairy drive. It's another road that's been impacted by the rain with landslides. I have a friend, used to be a work colleague, who works at the Megalong Tea Rooms, which is down in that valley. I caught up with her that day. I went looking for kangaroos. And I found some. Unfortunately, they were on private property and off in the distance. So sadly, I can't bring them to you as a tour, as much as I'd love to. Yes, I think we're going to see rain later today coming in from the west. Look at that. That looks like those clouds are bringing some rain with them, I'd say. Over on the right here, past the Radiata Plateau, tucked away behind this little rock face. In behind that little rock face or rocky outcrop, there's a tiny waterfall which we can't see from this angle. The location of it is called Nellie's Glen, and Nellie was the daughter of a person, John North his name was, who had an oil shale mine down in the valley, and they used to mine coal down there as well. The train that they used, or the track that they used to get the coal out of the valley and workers down into the valley, now forms part of Scenic World. It's called the Scenic Railway, and I'm hoping to bring that to you as part of a tour sometime over the next few weeks. Certainly the Scenic Skyway. I'm in discussion with the marketing manager from Scenic World, and should certainly be able to bring you Scenic Skyway. The main issue with Scenic Railway is the signal down in the valley, so I may have to just take a recording of it and bring it to you as a recording somehow. Let's go down and have a look at the valley from down here. The two lower lookouts, you really feel like you're standing out over everything. So let's get down there and have a look. I love this little rocky outcrop here. It just looks like a seat. And if we didn't have this rail in the way, you could almost go over there and sit on the seat. and look out over the valley. There are seats here, of course. Most of them are dedicated to people who have appreciated and enjoyed the area in the past. This one is dedicated to Nathan McIlvaney, and it looks like he wasn't very old. What's that? Only about 22 years old. So this lookout was burnt in a bushfire about 6 years ago, and you can see the remnants of that. Let me just turn around to my right here. So most of these dead trees that we're looking at here are the result of those bushfires that happened about 6 years ago. I don't know if you can see them very clearly. But of course, nothing very tall grows here because it's so exposed. So yes, the fire came up this cliff face, up over the escarpment, and actually threatened homes across the road from where my car is parked. I think one of them was destroyed. There's a burnt out tree trunk there. Sorry, I'm slow. 40 years ago, I would have been quicker going up and downstairs. All right, we can really hear the wind down in the valley here. So this is the lower, one of the two lower lookouts for Cahill's lookout. We'll go and have a look at the other one just over there on our left. There's the other lookout down there. And this is where we were just standing up there to hear the wind. Most of the forest is eucalyptus forest. Most of the Blue Mountains is tableland, like we're looking at right here. So it's mainly, it is pretty amazing. That's one descriptor. I'm literally gripping my gimbal with two hands to try and hold it from being buffered. Most of the Blue Mountains is a plateau. You can see the wind, yes. Yeah, you can. So we can get an idea of where we're standing when we look along the cliff face here. So as I was saying, the Blue Mountains is mainly a plateau, a tableland. We don't really have dramatic mountains in Australia as such. The highest point here in the Blue Mountains, which is part of the Great Dividing Range. Sorry, I've worked out this is the weird It's like that scarf under my arm. The highest peak in the Blue Mountains is just over 1,000 metres. The Blue Mountains form as part of the Great Dividing Range, which actually runs the length of the country from north to south, from north of Queensland right down through to the east of Victoria. So it's a substantial range, but there's just, because it's such an old continent, there's nothing dramatic about it. These mountains were formed by uplift millions of years ago, as opposed to the likes of the Alps and I think the Rockies as well, which were far more recently formed. And then erosion came along and created the valleys and the gorges. The rivers and creeks that around this part all flow into Warragamba Dam, which forms Sydney's water supply. All right, here's another aspect of Boar's Head. I noticed there's no climbers out here today. Okay. If I get down a bit lower, we might be able to get that against the sky, which might be interesting. All right, we're starting to see this rock formation against the sky. So this is an interesting point right about here. If I can get the foliage out of the way. Let me see. All right, I've just dipped on the signal a little, so we won't stay here long. Let's keep moving because I can see my signal has dipped a little and I do not want to lose it completely like I did the other day, which was devastating. Okay. And that's where we were just standing a moment ago. And you can really understand how, if anyone has been on my wind eroded cave tour in Anvil Rock, I mean, feeling the force of the wind now, you can understand how over eons the wind can cause erosion. So checking on the progress of this cloud coming over from the west, seems to be moving pretty slowly despite the force of this wind we're standing in. This is a lovely view. So the reason the Blue Mountains appear blue is apparently due to eucalyptus oil in the atmosphere. So the eucalyptus oil evaporates from the forest and the sun's refraction off the droplets in the atmosphere creates that blue tinge. That's how the theory goes. And we might be able to tilt down just a little bit. I know that it's skyway. We are around about 300 metres above the forest floor. I assume it wouldn't be terribly different at this point. So guesstimate roughly 300 metres down to the forest floor. One last look at Narrow Neck and I'll start heading back up those stairs. All right, so I need you all, at least two of you behind me, to give me a push up these stairs. All right, so we're going to climb back up all these stairs, and if I've still got any breath left in me, I'm actually going to take you along another short little track and see if any of the wildflowers are out as yet. Okay, last look at Boar's Head. Last look at Boar's Head before we head back up and I catch my breath. I need to do my dinner planning after my tour. After I take my washing to the laundromat because I don't have a washing machine at the moment plugged in at home because of the renovations. It's all very painful. Okay, so let me just catch my breath. Freely admit to being unfit. So we've just come back through that archway to this little park. And there's another little trail just off to the right over here where I have on occasion been lucky enough to find flannel flowers. So let's see if there's any there today. They are just starting to come out. The wattle typically comes out at the end of winter, and we're starting to see the wattle. So here we have the wattle flowers, and I'm just on the lookout. This one, whatever it is just about to burst into flower. All these little buds just ready to come out. And this is a really cute, interesting, colourful. Okay, where are these? This is cute. This is a gorgeous little flower coming out just down here. I don't know any of the names of any of these little wildflowers. I don't know if that's even getting into focus. And this, of course, is a Banksia. We can see the just past the new opening flower stage and one of the old seed heads. Oh, the elusive flannel flowers, they're in hiding. This is a different Banksia. Oops, trying to attack me. Do you notice how different the leaves are of this one? There's no young flowers on it yet. The leaves are quite different to that first Banksia that we saw, which was more like this. No snakes, no lizards. But in all honesty, there are lots of different species of snakes in this area. Here's some more evidence of the bushfires. Lots of different snakes. I've lived here more than 20 years and I think I've seen two in all that time. One was on a bushwalk. One was a very, very hot day. It was sitting on the road, across the road from where I used to live. No, I can't find any flannel flowers, unfortunately, which is a little bit sad. I hoped I would. You can see down into the valley from here again. That wind is not letting up at all, is it? All right, I think that's all the wildflowers we're going to see. So I'll just go a few more meters along and then we'll turn around, I think. Yeah, I think that's far enough. I've decided, I've made a call. We could go further, but it's really just more of the same. So I'll start heading back to the car. If you want to join me, I'll turn off or finish up when we get back to the car park. And I always look forward to seeing your postcards if you get a chance to share them. I'd love to see what you manage to capture. Look at this interesting bark. The colour of it. And I'm assuming it comes from this tree here. That would be my guess. It looks like a type of eucalypt. All right, almost back at that little park. I'll finish up there. In the meantime, tomorrow I'll be back at the Katoomba Falls and lookouts around that area. And on Wednesday, we'll be going to see the Three Sisters at Echo Point. Sunday, I'm going to a little local market held in the grounds of the school where my children used to attend. I'm just going to sit down. And next Monday, I'll be starting at Wentworth Falls Lake. I plan to do a very early morning, just as the day's breaking at Wentworth Falls Lake. All right, thank you again to everybody who was able to join me this morning. I really hope you enjoyed it. It was very cold, slightly in a slightly sheltered spot just at the moment, and I'm about to go get warm as soon as we finish. I'm always grateful for any support you're able to give me, and just a reminder that it's your tips and gratitude that keep us guides going. So we welcome and appreciate anything that you can share. All right, look forward to seeing you all another time. Anyone who hasn't followed me and would like to see more from the Blue Mountains, just hit that notifications button or the follow button up the top of your screen. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye for now.